And also glad that we got Lovecraft Country when we did, Dave. Um, we talked about the first episode a couple of weeks back, 10 weeks back now,
Yeah.
actually. And we were pumped because, you have Jonathan Majors, you have Journey Smollett,
Yep.
uh, and Courtney B. Vance.
Michael K.
At the
Williams.
Yeah, at the time we hadn't seen Michael K. Williams yet, but we knew he was coming. Um, Strong cast, sci-fi storytelling. The first episode was super gripping. As they're working their way through the 1950s South, as Black people, it's very interesting.
60s,
And
I think. Right.
was it 60s? Okay.
Post-Korea, whenever
Yes,
that is.
post-Korea for sure. So very interesting episode, and I think it set up a lot of potential for the season. I think the thing I would say about this show as we've wrapped it up, it's jam packed with metaphor, with plot. Uh, every episode feels a bit like a bottle episode with like an overarching narrative. Kind of like a new monster or sci-fi story every week, which is cool in some ways, but also it's like a lot of like downloading and learning what's happening in certain ones. And, like there's an Indiana Jones type episode, there's a ghost story episode, there's a fighting monsters or flying through space episode. So there's a lot of different pieces to it, and I think at times it just felt heavy and like just a lot to get through. I don't know how you're feeling about it.
Yeah. The more I didn't finish it yet, but the more I watched it, the more I kind of like, I guess, realized that I need to like check out on like plot investment a little bit. It's like that setup, I think, is quite strong because it kind of juxtaposes the two things, right? The real life villains, monsters, the racist white people of the time, and the institutions that enable that and keep that going, right? And then the actual fictitious Lovecraftian monsters that come and go and change throughout the season. And I think they do a good job. So like, well, remember, it's actually scarier is this stuff. And I will say, I think I was obviously much more tense whenever I was watching any kind of like encounter like that. When like in episode 3, like the haunted house one, where like you get the flaming cross put on the lawn by the white people because God forbid they live in the same neighborhood, right?
Right.
It's like that's way more tense and gripping than like the ghost trapped in the basement. Like I didn't really care about that part. And I like that they would move around. I think like the whole like doing bottle episodes to not so much worry about like the a plot forward momentum. I actually really like that because that's pretty uncommon these days in like like mainstream dramas and stuff. So I appreciate that, and I think they kind of do that structure well. But I don't know if the mix between like the real bad and the fictional bad and like the works when you have like this much like really heavy-handed like symbolism and stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't think there's an episode that hits that more on the head than episode 5, which is called Strange Case, where Ruby sleeps with William Brathwaite, or is it Brathwaite? Is that the character's last name?
Something like that.
Braithwaite, yeah. And
very white looking.
Yes, like very Aryan race looking motherfuckers. And Ruby sleeps with him and then wakes up as a white woman, and it basically lives her life as a white woman. She goes and gets a job that she's been trying to get and was overqualified to get, but was now able to get because she was white during that time. Using her white privilege to access things that she had been rejected from or neglected from. And at the end basically comes around to fuck being white, like I like being black and I don't want to live like this fake ass life, basically, is kind of where it gets to. But it does feel like just so on the nose, like actually like watching her like break out of the white person's skin. It's kind of like I get it, and like I also don't like gore a lot, so I was kind of like I don't need to like watch people tear through skin every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it really just felt like a very like heavy-handed metaphor there. Um, you know, I think there's a couple of episodes though that really stand out as just like fantastic episodes of television. The one that comes to mind for me first is Rewind 1921. Um, while I think there's a lot of symbolism in this one that can be either produce an eye roll from you or be considered really heavy handed, the fact that they go back to uh, Tulsa in 1921 and are actually showing you how that riot started, and what that was like for people on the ground there was very shocking, but also incredibly engaging. Um, and I say shocking as a white male, watching this. I think
Right.
for many Black Americans, it's not shocking. It's just their daily experience and the experience of their ancestors. Um, but I thought it was well told and really just a fun like time like escape episode, so to
Sure.
speak.
Definitely contrasts with the way Watchmen handled that last year.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing too. It's like Lovecraft. It's entertaining usually the whole time, and I think that's kind of what it was going for. And I think that's kind of what I've seen a lot of people talk about it with, where it's like maybe like the lofty mantle we tried to place it on as something, with Jordan Peele's stamp of approval,
Mhm.
with Jonathan Majors in the lead, we're like, oh, well, okay, well, this is going to be like really prescient, and like it's prescient to a point, but because I think it's over the top intentionally, usually, I feel like it's hard to treat it differently than like just kind of how it is. Like I feel like I decided to take it at face value, but it seems to be a bit of a hit for HBO. This finale was the highest rated episode. I think its premiere is one of the, if not the most watched premiere of new dramas they had this year. So, do you think a season 2 is worth it? Like they could do it, they don't have to
Yeah.
do it, but
So you not finishing the season, I am going to spoil something for you. It's tough because Jonathan Majors won't be back, right? Atticus dies in the final episode, and the family honestly ends up the way a lot of Black families in America do, where the the father figure is not present for one reason or another, and usually that's because of systemic racism in some way. Where and the women are kind of the ones raising the child. Atticus has to sacrifice himself here so that his son can live. And I think a really nice way is that Montrose, played by Michael K. Williams, kind of gets that chance to be the grandfather and father that he wasn't to Atticus, and that was kind of a driving part of their character relationship throughout. So I think where it's hard is it's going to be a show that if it does pick back up is going to be totally on Journey Smollett, and it'd be interesting to see if they try to pull someone else back in, or maybe if they keep the same concept and do like an anthology type series
mm,
where they follow other people. Because where they also get to at the end is that uh, Black people are the only people that are able to have the magic that white people aren't able to have it anymore.
mm,
So I'm not sure if they'd have to go maybe further back in time to explore other concepts. Um, I guess I'm just not sure what a second season looks like, but I'd be happy to have this back because if you can get this cast again, let them cook. That's my opinion on it. What about you?
yeah, I mean, it also has like really strong budget. Production values are good,
Mm-hmm.
and again, like I think Misha Green and crew, like the creativity was not lacking. So
Yeah,
it, I don't think they would just rush into a season 2. I'd like to think they would have some cool ideas. So, like again, and even if it didn't totally work for me, you got to appreciate the swing. It's definitely unlike a lot of other things, as we said.
yeah. Shout out real quick to the episode 6, Meet Me in Daegu. Which takes place in 1949 South Korea, and then kind of jumps forward into the Korean War, I believe. Um, a lot of the episode is in Korean, but the fact that it explored Korean culture during that time, family relationships, and that um, Gia is the Esser character is not just like a one-off in this bottle episode, but actually comes back to play a major part in the finale at the end. Is just really cool, and I like that they take these sorts of swings. I wanted to ask you real quick. We've had a couple of Jordan Peele products now. After Get Out, everybody was buying. Are you still buying?
Yeah, I'm still buying. Come on. And again, he produced this. He didn't make this, so this doesn't even mean that much, right? Think about how everyone else throws their names on things as a producer. Jordan Peele's the same way. So Lovecraft Country to me is has very little to do with my evaluation of Jordan Peele. Very much looking forward to his third directorial feature. Hopefully get that soon.
Absolutely. No, I agree. I'm still buying. Give me all the Jordan Peele stock if you're selling it.